The village of Jekinsimi was a quiet place, one of those small villages on the map where time seems to have stopped. The air was thick with a smell of dusty sand, sparkling fire from the steaming charcoal, and the breezy wind from the cool air from the river that runs across the village. Standing by the corner of the village stood a dilapidated, smuggly little house. The wall plastered with mud had letters written on it with black charcoal, but the hut was covered with thatched roof. The windows and doors of the hut was made of bent zinc, held together with wires here and there. The door is such that could barely shield the occupants from the harsh weather and elements outside. Biodun and his siblings Gbenga and Toriola lived in the hut with their parents, Baba Biodun and Iya Biodun. Gbenga stood outside, breaking wood with an axe to be used for dinner, his mind wandering far and wide on thoughts about life. Though Gbenga's parents were very poor, he had always dreamt of a good life and how wonderful it would be to be rich. They were born into a poor but hardworking family. Iya Biodun stood by the doorway to call out at Gbenga, asking if he was not done with the breaking of the firewood she is to use to cook. Baba Biodun, who is a farmer, at his farm place, toiling away looking for how to nurture his crops so that he could get a good harvest that would serve him and his family in months to come. Though Biodun and Gbenga shared the same blood, their hearts and minds were as different as the sun and the moon. Biodun the elder was a patient and contented man. He found joy in the simple things that, like tending to their small farm, sharing stories with the villagers, and watching the sun set behind the hills. Gbenga, on the other hand, was restless and ambitious. He yearned for wealth, power, and all the luxury he saw others enjoy. One day, as the brothers sat by their cooking fire, Gbenga said to his brother, "Biodun, look at us. We toil from sunrise to sunset, yet we remain poor. There must be another way, a quicker way to rise above the life of struggle." Biodun calmly answered, "Brother, wealth earned with patience and honesty brings peace. Beware of paths that promise much but ask little in return." But Gbenga paid no heed to his elder brother's wisdom. One market day, Gbenga overheard an old man whispering to another villager about a mystical figure known as Biodun, the keeper. This man, they said, lived deep within the forbidden forest and had the power to grant unimaginable riches, but his gifts were not without a price. That night, while the village slept, Gbenga left his bed and ventured into the dark forest. The trees stood tall and menacing, their branches swaying like arms reaching for him. Strange noises filled the air, whispers, rustles, and the occasional distant howl. But Gbenga's desire for wealth pushed him forward. At last, he reached a clearing parted in moonlight. There, standing in the corner, was Balogun, draped in a cloak of black feathers. His eyes glowed like embers. Balogun said to Gbenga, "You seek wealth, young man?" Gbenga boldly answered, "Yes, great one. I am tired of living in poverty. Give me riches and I will do whatever you ask." Balogun smiled, revealing teeth as sharp as a predator's. He reached into his cloak and pulled out a small golden talisman. "Bury this in your field at midnight. By morning, your land will yield gold instead of crops. But remember, every gift has a price." Gbenga eagerly said, "I accept." Without asking what the price was, Gbenga snatched the talisman and ran back to his village. As instructed, Gbenga buried the talisman in the middle of their field. When the first rays of sunlight broke over the horizon, he ran outside and gasped. His field was no longer filled with maize and yams. Instead, it sparkled with gold coins, gemstones, and treasures beyond his wildest dreams. The news spread quickly, and soon Gbenga was the richest man in the village. He built a grand house wore fine robes, and hosted lavish feasts. But Biodun, his elder brother, ever watchful, noticed something unsettling. Biodun said to Gbenga, "Brother, your wealth is magnificent, but why do the birds no longer sing over your land? Why have the animals fled? Something is not right." Gbenga, laughing, replied, "Do not worry about such things, Biodun. If only you knew the secret of my fortune, you would not question it." But soon, Gbenga's wealth began to show its darker side. The fertile land around his house turned barren. His once thriving crops withered away, and the village streams near his property dried up. The villagers began to avoid him, whispering that his riches were cursed. One night, Balogun appeared to Gbenga in a dream, his glowing eyes filled with malice, and said to Gbenga, "Did you think my gifts were free? The price of your riches is the life of the land itself. Soon your fields will turn to dust, and your wealth will be worth nothing. And this is only the beginning." Gbenga awoke, trembling. He realized the terrible mistake he had made. He rushed to Biodun, tears streaming down his face. "Brother, I was a fool. I traded our land's life for gold. Please help me undo this curse." Biodun, though saddened by his brother's greed, could not turn away. Together, they decided to return the talisman to Balogun. They ventured into the forbidden forest, carrying the cursed object. When they reached the clearing, Balogun was waiting, his eyes blazing. Balogun said, facing Gbenga, "Have you come to pay your debt?" Biodun family replied Balogun, "We ask for forgiveness, great one. Take back your gold and restore life to our land." Balogun studied them for a long moment before speaking. "Very well, but know this. Wealth gained through greed leaves scars that take generations to heal." With a wave of his hand, Balogun vanished, taking the talisman and all of Gbenga's gold with him. The brothers returned to their village. Few weeks after, the land began to recover. The fields grew green again, and the streams began to flow once again. Gbenga, humbled by his experience, worked alongside Biodun to rebuild their farm. Though they were poor in gold, they were rich in gratitude and the love of their community. Years passed, and the brothers' farm flourished once again. Though they lived modestly, Gbenga, now a humbled man, dedicated his life to undoing the harm he had caused. He traveled to neighboring villages, sharing the story of his greed and its consequences, urging people to respect the land and be wary of quick, easy wealth. One day, a stranger approached Gbenga after one of his speeches. The man, a farmer struggling with the barren field, asked, "Gbenga, your tale has moved me, but tell me, how can I recover my land when I have nothing left to give?" Gbenga said to the man, "My friend, wealth is not only in what you possess, but in what you give back. Begin by planting seeds with gratitude, tending to the earth with care, and the land will answer your efforts with abundance." Gbenga helped the farmer start anew, teaching him the lessons he had learned. The land healed slowly, but the farmer prospered, and Gbenga's wisdom spread even further. One moonlight night, as Gbenga sat under a tree, gazing at the stars, he felt a cold wind sweep through the air. He knew what this meant. Balogun, the mysterious figure who had once tempted him, appeared once again, emerging from the shadows of the forest. Balogun mockingly said to Gbenga, "Ah, Gbenga, the man who dared to defy me. Do you regret your choice to return my gifts?" Gbenga calmly replied, "No, Balogun. The gold you gave me brought nothing but sorrow. I have found peace in the simple life I now live." Balogun's eyes narrowed, but there was a flicker of curiosity. He said to Gbenga, "Few have the courage to reject riches once they have tasted them. Tell me, what have you truly gained?" Gbenga, facing Balogun, said, I have gained the respect of my brother, sister, and parents, the trust of my community, and the joy of seeing the land thrive again. These are riches you cannot take or curse." For a moment, Balogun was silent. Then he threw back his head and laughed, a laugh that echoed through the forest. "Very well," he said, "Gbenga. You have proven wiser than most. But remember, I will always be watching, seeking those who let greed rule their hearts. Pray that you never see me again." With that, Balogun vanished into the darkness, leaving Gbenga alone with the stars. Gbenga returned to his village, knowing that Balogun's words were a warning not just to him, but to everyone. He spent the rest of his days teaching others how to live harmoniously with the earth, sharing the wisdom of his brother Biodun and the lessons he had learned. When Gbenga finally passed away, he was remembered not as the man who sought riches, but as the one who found redemption. The villagers built a small shrine in his honor, planting trees around it as a symbol of life and renewal. As for Biodun, he continued to live peacefully, watching over the farm and the village. He often sat under the shade of a tree, telling the story of his brother to the next generation, reminding them that the greatest treasures were found in love, family, and the blessings of the land. And so the tale of Biodun and Gbenga lived on, a timeless reminder of the dangers of greed and the power of redemption. Thank you all for watching. If you enjoyed the whole part of this beautiful story, please drop a like on the video and leave a comment on your favorite parts of the story, moral lessons, character acts, and so on. Also share the story with your friends and family. It's been a long way getting here, and I really appreciate all of you who watched the story to the end. Thank you once again, and do subscribe to the channel, The Folktale Queen, so you won't miss out on our next story. And as always, do have a lovely day. Thank you.